Today on MetCast, we're talking about the Mets beating the Braves and what it means for the deadline. What's going on, Met fans? What a win last night for our New York Mets. Unbelievable. What an inning we had. We got down early. Senga gave up the 2 runs, but we battled back that big 7-run inning. JD Martinez has been struggling. We can't sit here and pretend that he has not been struggling when it comes to the bat, but he comes through in the clutch like we all knew he would. Grand slam to right field. Vientos follows up with a home run. And of course, Francisco Alvarez gets off the schneid. We're seeing David Stearns now starting to add to the bullpen, making some moves. There's been a lot of rumors out there whether or not the Mets are going to be all in this season, which, you're hearing. Andy Martino reported yesterday that the Mets supposedly are all in, coming from a rival executive. We'll see if that ends up being true, but I could see the Mets trying to potentially target a frontline starter. They have the farm system if they want to. I just don't know who in the farm system the Mets would consider untouchable. Would they be willing to move a guy like Jet Williams? I would hope not. I mean, I like Jet. I've liked him a lot since we drafted him early in the first round a few years ago. Would the Mets consider moving a pitcher like Brandon Sproat, the guy who's throwing 101 miles an hour out of Florida, dominating at the AA level right now with a 2.09 ERA? He's got, throws 100 miles an hour, 101 plus miles an hour. He's been utterly dominant in the minor leagues. And then you start looking at the other prospects. Would the Mets consider moving a guy like Acuna? Drew Gilbert? There's only so many spots on this team, because if the Mets are considering, and I know I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but if the Mets are considering to make a run at a guy like Juan Soto, your outfield is presumably locked up outside of center field. And from what we hear, the Mets might be moving Jet Williams to the outfield, Drew Gilbert, another top 100 prospect who they acquired last year in the Verlander trade, to the outfield. I mean, he's already in the outfield, but he projects probably to be a right fielder, a plus arm out there. And then you have Acuna, potentially a second baseman coming through the minor leagues. So there's only so many, places you could put guys. So if they're planning on making a run at Soto and they feel really confident that they could get a guy of his caliber, maybe you move one of these younger players. We heard the rumors earlier on in the season that the Mets would be willing to move some of their top-end prospects for younger, controllable arms. You got the rumors flying around with the White Sox everywhere. Who knows where that's going to end up going? The Tampa Bay Rays, who they've already made a deal with. They just traded a starter yesterday. Teams are making moves. The Orioles picked up one of their starters. So I think David Stearns is going to be active. I don't think it's going to be an all-in type. We heard other reporting today that the Mets, I believe it was Marino reported, or he said that he thinks the Mets are going to be coming away with 3 relievers at this deadline, maybe an outfield bat. We see the rumors with Michael Conforto. Supposedly the Mets and the Giants have had conversations in regard to that, and I'd be all for that. It wouldn't cost you a ton. Conforto's hitting in the 220s, would immediately replace DJ Stewart, who was, last I checked, in like the 170s, 160s type. He's just simply not a major league player. I know he was a great story last year. That story has faded away in my eyes. Let's see how we do the remainder of this week. I think the Mets know what they have here. I think David Stearns knows what he has here. This team is on an absolute roll. Now we are in sole possession of the first wild card spot. So let's see how it goes. We'll check in next weekend. As always, go Mets.